Today we're talking about the basics of a cricket field. I'm going to go through the layout and dimensions of a basic field, then discuss the 3 key fielding zones that you need to know. Then we'll go through a list of every single fielding position. And finally, I'm going to discuss the different match formats and what fielding restrictions they each have. This includes test matches, one-day internationals, and 2020s. Just before we get started, if you find this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel to support future content. Let's get into it. So first, let's look at the layout of a cricket field. As you can see here, the boundary limits of a field are set at a maximum of 90 yards, which is 82.29 meters. The minimum boundary length is 65 yards, which is 59.43 meters. There is no fixed distance for a ground, and it is unique to each field, but it must fall within the range that you can see on the screen now. As you can see in this example, I've marked out the distance to the boundary, and this is done from the center of the wicket. In this case, we'll say that the boundary is 82.29 meters. Now that we've looked at the size of the field, we can break the field down into 3 specific sections. The first section we're going to discuss is the close infield. This is marked at either end of the wicket from the middle stump. You can see here the 2 circles with a radius of 13.72 meters. This is what is classified as the close infield region. The next section we're going to discuss is the infield, which I've marked out here. You can see this is 30 yards or 27.43 meters. Finally, the last section is the outfield, which is the same as the boundary dimensions discussed above. We're going to put it all together so you can see all 3 sections at once. Next, I'm going to go over the pitch dimensions. I'm going to go over this briefly and discuss it in further detail in another video, but for now, we're just going to go through some basics. So, stump to stump, the distance on the pitch is 20.12 meters, also 22 yards. The width of the pitch is 3.05 meters, or 3.34 yards, and the return crease is 1.22 meters or 1.33 yards either end of the pitch. This is marked from the stumps at each end. Now that we've gone through the dimensions of the field, let's go through a basic layout. You can see here we have 2 umpires, and I've also marked out the bowler and the wicketkeeper. There is an umpire at the bowler's end, and there's also an umpire at square leg. We're going to consider this field as if it was set for a right-hand batsman. This is what it would look like if a right-hand batsman took guard in this layout. As you can see, I've marked a line down the center of the field, and I've also marked it in the center of the wicket when the batsman's taking guard. Anything on the right of that line is known as the onside or the leg side. Anything on the left-hand side of that line is known as the offside. If you look at a left-hand batsman, as you can see here, everything is basically reversed. Before we get into any positions, I want to go through some basic terminology of how you would move and direct your fielders around the cricket field. So for example, if you want to push a fielder deeper, you're going to move them towards the boundary. Here I have a fielder at mid-wicket, but we're going to push him deeper and he's going to go to deep mid-wicket. Basically, if you push a fielder deeper, you're moving them closer towards the boundary. Now we're going to talk about moving fielders closer to the wicket. For example, I have mid-wicket again, but now we're going to move him to short mid-wicket. As you can see, he's moved from the regulation position to a position closer to the batsman and to the wicket. In general, if you move a fielder from a regulation position closer in, you're asking them to go shorter or sillier. Moving on, now you can see I've marked a line across the popping crease. If a fielder is placed in front of this line, it's known to be in front of square, and if a fielder is placed behind this line, it's known to be behind square or backward of square. Now if we say we want to move a fielder squarer, that basically means we want to move them closer to that line that is marked on the screen. For example, we have a fielder at fine leg, and we're going to move him squarer, so he moves to deep backward square leg. And to finish this section off, we're going to discuss the difference between moving a fielder finer and wider. For example, we had a fielder at long off. As we move this fielder finer, he becomes straight on to the wicket. If we move the fielder wider, we increase the angle from the wicket. Now we can break down our field into 3 different zones. The first zone is the close catching ring, which I've marked on the field. Fielders in this ring are generally used in attacking situations, when you want to try getting wickets and put extra pressure on the batsman. So let's work our way through these fielding positions. I'm going to put the bowler first and the wicketkeeper. Then we have first slip, second slip, third slip, fourth slip, gully, silly point, silly mid off, short extra cover, short mid off, silly mid on, short mid wicket, short leg, leg gully, and leg slip. So those are the fielding positions in the close catching ring. Now let's look at the inner ring. The fielders in this ring are generally there to restrict scoring. I'm going to start with the bowler and wicketkeeper again. Then we have fly slip, backward point, point, cover point, cover, extra cover, mid off, mid on, mid wicket, square leg, short backward square leg, and short fine leg. And that pretty much covers the positions in the inner ring. And now we're going to look at the last fielding zone, which is the outer ring. These positions are used in a more defensive setting. I'm going to start with the bowler and wicketkeeper again. Then I have fly slip, so you would have noticed that even in the inner ring and the outer ring we have fly slip. So we can position the fly slip in either of those areas, depending on what you want. Then we have third man, deep backward point, deep point or a sweeper, deep cover, deep extra cover, long off, long on, cow corner, deep mid wicket, deep square leg, deep backward square leg, long leg, fine leg, and long stop. Just to finish off this section, I'm going to show you all 3 fielding zones together in one image. So we have the close catching ring, the inner ring, and the outer ring. Now that we've gone through each of the fielding zones, I'm going to go through every single position. You'll be able to track every position as we add it to the field. So I'm going to start with the bowler, the wicketkeeper, first slip, second slip, third slip, fourth slip, gully, silly point, silly mid off, short extra cover, mid off, leg slip, leg gully, short leg, silly mid on, short mid wicket, fly slip, backward point, point, cover point, cover, extra cover, mid off, mid on, mid wicket, square leg, short backward square leg, short fine leg. And we have fly slip again, third man, backward point, deep backward point, sweeper, deep cover, deep extra cover, long off, long on, cow corner, deep mid wicket, deep square leg, deep backward square leg, long leg, fine leg, and long stop. So that's a quick summary of all of the positions from each of the 3 rings. Finally, I want to discuss the fielding restrictions for each of the different match formats. So there are different rules for each of the 3 formats, that is Tests, ODI, and 2020s. But there is one common rule. That is, you can only have a maximum of 2 fielders behind square on the onside. So as you can see on the field here, I'm marking down the center of the field and on the popping crease. If you can see the highlighted area, you're only allowed a maximum of 2 players in this area at any time. This applies to all 3 formats. Just as a reminder, I am marking the offside and the onside, also known as the leg side. So let's have a look at test matches. There are no fielding restrictions in test matches, so you can have as many fielders as you want in the outer ring, the inner ring, or in the catching ring. Remember, once you consider the bowler and the wicketkeeper, you have only 9 fielders that you can place around the field. The rule of a maximum of 2 fielders behind square on the onside still applies in test matches. That specific region is marked on the field, as you can see. So now, moving on to one-day internationals. There are 2 specific rules for one-day games. So the first being, at any point in time, you can have no more than 5 fielders on the leg side. So I've highlighted the leg side here. At any stage in the game, you can only have a maximum of 5 players in this region. On top of that, you can only have a maximum of 2 fielders behind square on the leg side, as we discussed previously. Those are the 2 key rules to follow for one-day internationals, but we also have to consider power plays and the fielding restrictions that apply in those power plays. So power play 1 lasts from overs 1 to 10. You can only have a max of 2 fielders outside of the 30-yard circle. As you can see, I've marked the 30-yard circle on the field. For power play 2, it lasts between overs 11 to 40, and in that period you can have a maximum of 4 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. And finally, for power play 3, which is from overs 41 to 50, you can have a maximum of 5 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. Now, looking at 2020s, it's similar to one-day internationals. So at any stage in the game, you can have no more than 5 fielders on the leg side. And as with the test matches and one-day internationals, you can only have a maximum of 2 fielders behind square on the leg side at any time. In terms of power play restrictions, in 2020, the power play lasts from overs 1 to 6, and in that period you can have 2 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. In the non-power play period, from overs 7 to 20, you can have a maximum of 5 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. And that's it for this video, guys. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support will really help create more content in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.